On Fox, just in the last day or two, they apparently have learned what many of us have had to contend with recently, which is that there's this massive teacher shortage, with a number of states being down literally tens of thousands of teachers. And it means that some have had to cut classes, some have had to cut literally a day, going down to 4 days of classes in a week. Now, we consider this to be a significant problem, because even prior to the pandemic, teachers were underpaid, not respected, not given the resources and time and attention they need to do their job. But it's a little bit funny to hear Fox News complaining about it, as if they haven't been encouraging people to harass and attack teachers. And so I wanted to give credit to Kat from Media Matters for doing a great job of responding to this. She's actually the one that raised it on Twitter that I originally saw about them talking about it. And so what she decided to do, as Media Matters often does, to put together this amazing mashup of what they've had to say about teachers over the last year or two. Take a look at this.
We're overplaying the importance of education.
So, doctor, this is grooming, right?
Brainwashing toddlers with racist drivel.
Cameras in the classroom as we put them on the chests of police officers.
But I don't think these teachers are even smart enough to be in the classroom.
Teachers hate teaching and they hate their students.
They legit hate your kids.
They're lazy, they're incompetent.
Sluggish cat ladies in sweats stained with chocolate eclairs. The KKK with summers off.
Teachers make 20% less than people with similar degrees, but they also work 20% less. They have school, they have the summers off.
They would like less work, no accountability, and much more pay.
They're teaching our children to sext.
They took God out of our schools, Sandra.
To view pornography.
And then the left replaced it with CRT, which is this neo-Marxist religion.
What they are doing is grooming our children for sexual predators.
This is a new world order. Everything they do is anti-kid, anti-parent.
Why don't you go in there, thrash the teacher, and you're gonna get hurt. And I think that should be the rule still. You get beaten up, you should be beaten up, please.
Yeah, and look, you might think maybe that's taken out of context. I remember some of those specific clips because we've shown them here on the show before. That was multiple times that Tucker Carlson was advocating for people to literally physically assault teachers, saying, well, if they did this thing that I'm making up in a park, you'd punch them, so why don't you punch the teacher? That's what he was saying repeatedly. So they're gonna pretend that they're worried about the lack of teachers, that it's some problem they really care about, when they've been convincing millions and millions of Americans that they're literally trying to have sex with your children. That's who they are. And you should be physically beating them because of this thing that I'm trying to convince you that they're doing. It's absolutely sickening.
So, Fox News suddenly is talking about the damage that's been done to teachers. Am I right? Is that what's happening here, John?
I guess.
That's the craziness surrounding, as you saw from that whole clip that you had from everybody doing this stuff. But again, I feel like this point has been made previous to this, because there's this thing called school shootings. And the solution for people who don't want us to have any kind of gun regulation is, hey, let's provide more guns in schools. And in fact, let's give teachers guns. So this is another one of those avenues where the logic just keeps running into each other. So the teachers hate your students. They're teaching them, they're grooming them because they're sexual predators. Well, let's give them guns.
Yep.
Hey, if those teachers hate your students and they want to groom them, giving them a weapon will give them more reason to do it, or at least a little bit more intimidation factors involving it. And in fact, if they don't like your kid, maybe they'll just shoot them then, right? Because they're unhinged, they're crazy, they're overpaid, they don't work enough. All these horrible things they can say because there's one thing that they want to demonize them about. But oh my God, the gun lobby is still paying us to say all these ridiculous things. So let's instead then go back to giving them guns. No, I wonder if anybody's ever gonna confront them with these opinions and principles that they have when it comes to teachers. But still, John, there's been those instances where we do see biased teachers. We do see teachers that berate maybe black and brown students to an unnecessary degree, or they think they're up to something when they're not. We've seen those studies because they also see kids that are 5 years old as 7 to 8 to 9 and 10 years old. There are biased teachers. And whenever those stories come up, do we then go, hey, we're gonna have to reform the way teachers see certain students because they've been conditioned to see certain students a certain way? No, suddenly the teachers are good again. It's all it's whatever the scenario fits. But then to be hateful towards certain people and then embracing maybe gun lobbies or just holding on to their guns as tightly as possible, then there's fewer problems with teachers and their power over everyone. Which one is it, bro? Which one is it?
Absolute madness. Like how a single person could be a teacher and be a Republican right now. Like they have been, like, who have they been demonizing more last year? Teachers, the trans community. There's at least a debate to be had there about which they have presented as more of an existential threat to America. Like, they want less work and more pay. It's so damn easy to be a teacher. Well, that is why every time a teaching position opens up, it's just flooded with recruits. Everybody is tripping over themselves to work super hard and spend the small amount of money they're paid to buy school supplies for the kids, and to be hounded by the parents, and to have to conform to ever-changing test standards that you don't have enough time to actually do. It really is far too easy of a job, and they get compensated too much for it. Absolute madness. A case can be made that it is literally the most important job in our country, and it is one of the most neglected, most ignored by the people in power.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.